Hi, welcome to Drift Stories. I'll be your voice tonight. We are going to walk a road, not a silk road, not a sea road, but a waterway that has flowed for 1400 years, all the way from Beijing to Hangzhou. It is called the Grand Canal. 6 reroutes, 800 kilometers of hand-dug channel, linking 5 river systems, cutting through the heart of China. Tonight, we start from the top. Now, close your eyes. Let your breath slowly settle. Imagine you're standing in a quiet corner of Beijing. Not Tiananmen, not the Forbidden City, a small intersection north of Huai'an. This place is called Jishuitan. 700 years ago, there were no high-rises here, no traffic, only a vast expanse of water as far as the eye could see. Green steel, fed by springs flowing from the western hills, gathered here into a colossal dock. You stand at the water's edge. Beneath your feet are blue stone steps, polished smooth and lustrous by countless footsteps. The steps descend all the way below the surface, sinking step by step into the green water. The water is so still, you can make out every strand of waterweed below. They sway gently at the bottom, like hair in the wind. A few wild ducks float in the distance, motionless, like pieces of driftwood. The surface reflects Beijing's gray-blue sky. Now and then a tiny ripple drifts slowly from far to near, touches the bank, and recedes again. The breath of water moving through a channel that has existed since the Yuan dynasty. You crouch down and dip your hand into the water. It is cool, not the bone-chilling cold of deep winter, but the cool of something that has accumulated layer upon layer of time and settled for a very long while. You imagine 700 years ago, this dock was crowded with 1,000 grain barges, their masts like a winter forest. The shouts of stevedores rising and falling in waves. Grain, timber, silk, porcelain, all departing from these waters, drifting 1,000 miles down the waterway ahead of you to Hangzhou. Those boats are gone now. The shouts have scattered. Only this expanse of water remains, waiting quietly for you. You rise from Jishuitan and walk south along a narrow slate road. This is Old Drum Tower Avenue. In the Yuan dynasty, it was an imperial road leading straight to the bell and drum towers. You are walking along Beijing's central axis from 700 years ago. The morning alleyways are not yet fully awake. Street lights still glow orange, and a low mist floats just above the ground. A spotted cat crouches on a wall, its tail slowly hanging down, the tip gently swaying left and right. You pass a gray brick pagoda. Wuxi Bridge lies just ahead. The bridge is small, a single arch stone span, its body weathered to a deep gray by centuries of wind and rain. The water beneath it is dark green, barely showing any movement. But if you crouch and look closely, a tiny plain leaf drifts on the surface, moving forward slowly, so slowly, at the speed of a falling feather. The water is flowing. 700 years ago, Guazhou, the Yuan dynasty's hydraulic engineering genius, a man who understood water better than anyone, stood exactly where you are now, watching the same water. He excavated the Tangqi River, channeled the springs of Beijing into Jishuitan, then east to Hangzhou, so grain from the south could sail directly to Beijing's doorstep. You stand up and follow the river. The banks are the quietest side of old Beijing. Gray brick courtyard homes, crooked locust trees, a row of pigeons perched on a power line. You are in no hurry. You simply follow the water. Where the water flows, you go. The channel bends, and you bend with it. The sound of water is faint. Not the roar of a waterfall, but water lightly brushing against stone, eddying around tree roots, like a well-worn book whose pages are turned slowly, one after another. You follow the channel to an ancient city wall. This is Beijing's Dongbianmen, a modest gate, much smaller than Qianmen or Zhengyangmen. But it was the last checkpoint for Grand Canal boats entering the city. The bridge is called Gongchen Bridge, spanning the Tangqi River. You stand on it, watching the water pass beneath the gate and flow into the distance. The bridge railings are white marble, carved with lotuses and auspicious cloud patterns. You touch the stone. It is dense with fine textures, crisscrossing like the lines of a palm. Those textures are not natural. They were worn by countless hands over hundreds of years. The hands of boatmen, of merchants, of scholars traveling to take the imperial exams, of travelers returning home to see their families. Generation after generation of hands brushing the same stone, wearing it down to what it is now. You lean on the railing and watch the water flow east. In the afternoon light, the surface glows a pale gray, soft, like an old mirror. Dense reeds grow along the bank, nodding gently in the breeze with a rustling sound. In the distance, an egret stands in the shallows, its slender legs submerged, staring motionless at the water. Suddenly, its long beak plunges in. When it lifts again, a small silver fish glistens in its bill. The fish's tail flicks a spray of droplets in the sunlight, each one catching the light for a brief instant before falling back. The egret tilts its neck, swallows the fish, then resumes its stance, motionless. Its posture is exactly the same as its ancestors from 1,000 years ago. The creatures along this river, egrets, reeds, willows, fish beneath the surface, their lives have never changed. Only the gate by the river has changed. The railings on the bridge have changed. The people walking across have changed. You continue east along the Tangqi River. The water flows slower now because there is a lock ahead. Qingfeng Gate. 700 years ago, this was a busy transportation hub. You stand at the lock and look down. The walls on both sides are built of blue stone, the crevices thick with moss, dark green, clumped in patches, like fur that time has grown on itself. The water at the bottom of the lock is shallow, so clear you can see every stone's grain and the tiny fish swimming below. You imagine the scene 700 years ago, grain barges queuing to pass through the lock. A flat-bottomed barge laden with grain glides slowly into the chamber. The boatman's work chants rise. The deck planks creak underfoot. The gate closes behind, and water slowly pours into the chamber. The surface rises, and the boat rises with it. Sweat glistens on the boatmen's faces in the sunlight. When the water level matches the upper reach, the forward gate opens, and the barge continues into the next stretch. This lock-passing procedure, from the Yuan dynasty to the end of the Qing, remained unchanged for 600 years. Now you stand at the empty lock. No boats are passing, no chants sound, but the water still flows. You crouch down, dip your hand into the shallow water at the lock, and cup a handful. The water is cool, carrying the scent of earth and plants. You let it go, watching it slip through your fingers, rejoin the channel, and continue east. You think, perhaps, every single drop in this handful, on some day, in some dynasty, once carried a person, a boat, a story. You have followed the channel for an entire day, from Jishuitan to Dongbianmen, from Dongbianmen to Qingfeng Gate. The road grew wider, the water more open. Dusk is approaching. You stand in Hangzhou, today's eastern outskirts of Beijing. 700 years ago, the Grand Canal's terminus dock. The name Hangzhou, spoken in the Beijing dialect, has a long, lingering quality. Tang, meaning connecting north and south. Zhou, an ancient city that rose because of water. You stand by the river in Old Hangzhou. The water here is wider than any stretch you have walked along all day, wide as a river. The setting sun slants across the surface, dyeing the whole waterway a warm amber. A few modern boats sit by the shore, their iron hulls completely different from the wooden-grained barges of old. But you close your eyes, and you can still see those barges. You see hundreds of flat-bottomed boats packed tightly along the dock, masts crossing masts, prows bumping against prows with dull wooden thuds. The warehouses on shore are piled high with goods from the south. Jiangxi porcelain, Suzhou silk, Hangzhou tea, Huzhou writing brushes. Stevedores stripped to the waist, a white towel draped over one shoulder, run back and forth on the gangplanks, hauling sacks of grain. Merchants haggle in the tea houses by the dock, abacus beads clicking and clattering. The air is a mix of the river's fishy tang, the dry fragrance of grain, and the tung oil smell from the wooden hulls. All these sounds and scents, standing in the same place, eyes closed, you can still feel them. They have not fully vanished. They have only sunk into the riverbed, into the mud of the banks, just as the setting sun now sinks into the river, warming the whole waterway into stillness. You walk north from the dock and see a pagoda, the Burning Beacon Pagoda, Hangzhou's landmark, one of the Grand Canal's oldest navigational markers. The pagoda is not tall, only 13 stories, but it has stood here for 1400 years. It was built during the northern and southern dynasties, older than the Grand Canal itself. In those days, the canal had not yet reached Hangzhou, but this pagoda already stood by the Yangtze River, watching the waters flow day and night. Later, when Emperor Yan of Sui excavated the Grand Canal, Hangzhou became its terminus, and the Burning Beacon Pagoda became the last lantern on the waterway. You walk to the foot of the pagoda. It is a brick and wood structure, its outer walls whitewashed with lime, peeling in places to reveal the blue bricks beneath. A bronze bell hangs from each eave corner. A light wind passes, and the bells produce an extremely soft, thin chime. Ting, like a single drop of water falling into another. You stand beneath the pagoda and look up. The setting sun shines from behind, gilding the entire tower. You walk a full circle around it. Lotus patterns are carved into the stone slabs of the base. Though worn, your fingers can still trace the outlines of the petals. You crouch down and press your hand against a slab. It is warm, the residual heat of a full day in the sun. It strikes you, in 1400 years, how many people like you? Boatmen, merchants, travelers, scholars on their way to the examinations, at the end or beginning of their long journeys, have come to this pagoda, touched these stones, looked in this direction and told themselves, "I have arrived," or "It is time to set out." The next day, you depart from Hangzhou and continue south along the North Canal. The water widens and the land on both sides grows increasingly flat. The banks of the North Canal are earthen, not as neat as the stone-lined embankments in the city. The earthen banks are covered with wild grass, reeds, and clumps of nameless shrubs. The water is a turbid yellow-green, nothing like the clear jade of Jishuitan, because this river is truly flowing. It starts in Beijing and runs all the way south through Tianjin, Hebei, and Shandong, each stretch carrying the color of its local soil. You walk slowly along the bank on a soft dirt path. Frogs leap from the grass into the water with a splash. Grasshoppers spring from under your feet and land on leaves farther ahead. The air smells of wet earth and sun-warmed grass. You stop at a bend. The channel curves here in a gentle arc, like an elbow bending softly. The water opens wider on the inside of the curve, forming a small cove. Several abandoned wooden boats lie half sunk in the cove, their decks thick with green moss. They rest there quietly, like old men dozing in the afternoon sun. You crouch beside one of the wrecks and place your hand gently on its hull. The sound the wood makes is dull and damp. You wonder, when was this boat's last voyage? What cargo did it carry? What was the last thing the crew thought when they saw the burning beacon pagoda in Hangzhou? No one knows. The boat simply keeps its silence, half sunk into the bed of the North Canal, growing old slowly together with this river. After 2 days following the North Canal, you arrive at a place called Yangzhou. The name itself carries the feeling of a painting. Willows green, a riverside home. This is an ancient town west of Tianjin, a place that rose because of the canal and preserved many crafts because of it. You enter the town, and the first thing you see is the New Year paintings adorning every doorway. Yangzhou New Year prints, one of China's most famous woodblock print centers, depict chubby babies holding giant carp, the door gods Qin Qiong and Yu Qi, abundant harvests and surplus year after year. The colors have faded somewhat under centuries of wind and sun, but the lines remain crisp. You stop before an old house. Pinned to its door is a print called "Surplus Year After Year." A plump, fair-skinned child sits on a lotus leaf, hugging a golden-red carp, grinning from ear to ear. The edges of the paper have curled up. The pigment's cracked, but the child's smile is still warm. Old folks of the town sit on stone benches by the canal. Some shelling beans, some playing chess, some simply sitting, staring at the water, lost in thought. You pause at a New Year print shop. The door is half open, and the scent of ink drifts out. Not the pine soot ink used in calligraphy, but a special printing ink with a hint of tung oil. You push the wooden door and step inside. An old man sits at his workbench, a half-finished print spread before him. The ink outlines have been printed, but the colors have not yet been filled. The carved outlines of a general are crisp. Mounted on a horse, holding a great blade. The old man wears reading glasses, a brush in hand dipped in pigment, carefully adding vermilion to the general's armor. Stroke by stroke, his hand is slow and precise, each stroke landing within the ink-lined boundary, not a single extra movement. You stand at the doorway and watch for a long time. The old man looks up, gives you a faint smile, and lowers his head again to continue painting. His entire world is on this New Year print. In a small wooden house by the canal, in this little town, in the colors being filled in one stroke at a time, by time itself. You leave Yangzhou and continue south. The river grows wider and boats begin to appear. Not the ancient grain barges, but modern cargo ships, iron-hulled riding deep in the water, carrying sand and coal, chugging along, trailing black smoke. You stand on Tianjin's Yangtze Bridge. Beneath it flows the Hai River, where the Xia River, the South Canal, and the North Canal converge. This is Sanchaikou, the birthplace of Tianjin. You lean over the railing and look down. Three currents of different colors merge beneath you. The North Canal carries yellow-brown silt from Beijing. The South Canal from Shandong is a grayer hue, and the Xia River, flowing from the Taihang Mountains, is clearer. The three streams slowly twist together before your eyes, like three timelines braided into a single rope. The shore holds Tianjin's oldest neighborhoods, the little Western-style buildings of Italian concession, the archways of ancient Culture Street, the incense of the Tianzhou Temple. Tianjin is not a city of dreams. It is a solid, down-to-earth city. So its canal has never inspired much poetry. Instead, there have been the sounds of abacus beads, boat captains haggling, dock workers' feet thudding on gangplanks. But now, evening, all those sounds have faded. The river still flows. You stand on the bridge and watch a swallow skim across the water's surface, its wings nearly touching. The swallow arcs through the air, flies under the bridge, and disappears. It occurs to you, 600 years ago, another person standing at Sanchaikou might have seen the same swallow flying through the same void arch. Past Tianjin, the river grows quiet. You have walked along the canal for 3 days, through fields, villages, past an occasional stone bridge, past rows of crooked poplars. You stop in Hangzhou, a small city that was once a bustling canal port, now so quiet it is nearly forgotten. You walk into the center of old Hangzhou and see an iron lion. This lion was cast during the 5 dynasties, 1100 years ago. It stands over 5 meters tall, more than 6 meters long, and weighs about 40 tons. Its face faces the sea, mouth open as if roaring. But its voice has been swallowed by time. The lion's body is covered in rust, green, brown, deep black, layer upon layer, like a book read through many times. Its tail has broken off. Its 4 legs are cracked, but it still stands facing the sea. You stand beside the lion and reach out to touch its belly. The surface of the cast iron is rough and cold, like touching craggy rock. You walk around it. Scriptures were once cast onto the lion's body. Legend says that when it was cast, artisans inscribed the Diamond Sutra and the Medicine Buddha Sutra directly onto the molten iron surface. But 1100 years of wind and rain have worn those characters until they are nearly invisible. You press your palm against the lion's body, like a blind person reading a lost book. You can read nothing, but your hand feels those deep indentations. Indentations that were once brushstrokes, once characters, once sutras that an artisan, before the iron had fully cooled, carved stroke by stroke with an iron awl. He hoped these words would remain, blessing this little canal town with favorable weather. The words are gone now, but the Iron Lion remains. It still looks toward the sea, just as this town looks toward the canal. Silent, stubborn, sinking deeper into the thickening soil of time. You continue south from Hangzhou into Shandong province. Here the canal takes a new name, the Wuxi River. This is the most arduous stretch of the Grand Canal, because Shandong's terrain is higher than both the northern and southern ends, meaning water must flow uphill. You stop at a place called Linking, once one of the busiest docks on the canal and the site of China's most famous customs house. Every northbound and southbound shipment had to stop here to pay duty. You stand before the ruins of the Linking Customs House. The old government building is gone, leaving only a few column bases and a stretch of broken wall, its blue bricks slowly cracking in the wind. You stand by the ruined wall. The ground beneath your feet is tamped earth, pounded flat and solid by countless footsteps. You close your eyes. Can you hear those sounds? The crisp rattle of abacus beads. Click, clack, from dawn until dusk. The voice of cargo manifests being read aloud, carrying a Shandong accent. 300 dan of white rice, 50 bolts of blue cotton, 200 sets of Jingdishan porcelain bowls, the dull thud of the customs seal stamping paper, the clink of silver being weighed, boatmen arguing with tax officers. I already paid customs on this cargo in Huai'an. No receipt. Pay again. Then the abacus beads again. Those sounds have now scattered into the wind. You crouch down and gently trace a finger through the tamped earth. The soil is loose, smelling of dry grass and dust. This stretch of silent river bank before you was once one of the busiest corners of the entire Ming Empire. Not far away, water still flows in the canal. A small cement boat chugs slowly by a dozing figure on board, a straw hat covering their face. The boat putters past, leaving a slowly widening wake that reaches the bank, and it gently laps against the earth at your feet like a distant reply. You follow the canal into a region of low hills. The water in Shandong is much clearer than the North Canal. The riverbed here is sandy, and the water filtered through the sand has become transparent. You stand at the edge of a small town called Liangshan. Not the Liangshan of water margin, that one is farther north. But this one shares the same name because here the canal makes a wide loop, wrapping around three sides of a low hill. Dusk is near. You walk onto a stone slab bridge spanning the canal, built in the Qing dynasty, with qilin and lotus carved into the railings, the warm ochre of aged stone. You stand at the center of the bridge, watching the canal turn into a golden ribbon beneath you in the sunset light. The poplars on both banks rustle in the wind. Not a loud sound, but a fine, continuous one, like countless tiny metal tabs gently tapping together. A child is fishing under the bridge, not seriously. He sits on the bank, bare feet in the water, a fishing rod slanted across his shoulder, the line drifting on the surface, motionless for a long time. He does not seem to care whether a fish bites. He just soaks his feet in the river and stares blankly at the distant sky. As you cross the bridge, he looks up at you for a moment, then looks back down at the water. On the other side of the bridge, Several water buffalo lounge in the shallows. Only 2 curved horns and a stretch of gray-black back visible. 1 buffalo snorts into the water. Chuff. Droplets catch the sunset light for a moment. You stand at the center of the bridge and suddenly feel that this river is like a zipper of time, stitching together places 1,000 miles apart. How far have you walked from Beijing to here? More than 300 kilometers. And the canal still has over 1,000 kilometers to go, stretching all the way into the misty rains of the south. The sky is completely dark. You have reached Dongping Lake, where the Grand Canal joins a natural lake. Dongping Lake is not large, but in the night, it seems boundless. You stand at the shore and cannot see the opposite bank. The water is ink black, the sky also ink black, only a faint dividing line at the horizon where water meets sky like a single pencil stroke on sham paper. The moon has not yet risen, so the stars are especially bright. You look up. The Big Dipper hangs directly overhead, its handle pointing north toward the direction you came from. You walk slowly along the shore. The sound of water lapping against the bank is very soft, not like waves at sea, but tiny ripples pushing forward one after another and receding, like a person breathing. A few faint lights flicker on the lake. The lanterns of fishermen living on their boats, yellow, very small, like fireflies resting on the water's surface. You walk onto a wooden plank, jetty jutting into the lake, built by someone unknown. The wood has turned black and soft, creaking underfoot. You sit at the far end of the jetty, your legs hanging above the water. The lake lies 1 foot beneath you, dark, quiet, unfathomable. You lower your head and see stars wavering on the water. Not real stars, but their reflections stirred by tiny ripples into pools of silver. You feel sleepy, not from fatigue, because of the water's rhythm. The water of Dongping Lake connects with the canal in the night. Beneath the plank you sit on flows the pulse of the Grand Canal, uninterrupted for 1,400 years. The water flows very slowly, like time itself flowing. You rest your head on your knees and close your eyes. The sound of water is stilled by your ear, once again, like an ancient cradle gently rocked by invisible hands. After dawn, you continue south along the canal. The landscape shifts from fields to dense clusters of small towns, each stretching along the waterway. You arrive in Jingning. During the Ming and Qing dynasties, Jingning was the administrative center of the entire Grand Canal. The canal governor was stationed here. You walk into Jingning's old town, heading straight for the ruins of the governor's office. All that remains is a single gate and a short stretch of courtyard wall. The gate is a 3-bay solid eave structure with gray tile roofing. A horizontal plaque above the lintel, reading Office of the Canal Governor General in 6 characters. One of the stone lions flanking the gate is damaged. Half the head of the left lion is smashed off, leaving only half a face, silently staring at the sky. You stand at the threshold and look inside. Beyond the gate lies an empty courtyard overgrown with weeds. In the center of the courtyard stands a massive ginkgo tree, its crown shading most of the yard, its trunk so thick it might take 3 people to encircle. The ginkgo leaves in this September light are already beginning to yellow, each leaf a tiny fan swaying gently in the breeze. You step into the courtyard and stand beneath the ginkgo. Legend says this tree was planted when the governor's office was built during the Ming Dynasty, 500 years ago. Back then, the governor, robed in red official silk, would sit here holding counting rods, a 3-meter-long map of the entire Grand Canal spread before him, marking the depth of each river section, the width of each lock, and the location of each dangerous shoal. His entire life's task was to keep this canal navigable, so that grain from the south could reach the northern capital, so that the empire's lifeblood would remain flowing. The governor is gone now. The documents are gone. The grain barges on the canal are gone. Only this ginkgo tree remains, standing here, shedding its leaves every autumn, carpeting the courtyard in a layer of gold.
The canal leaves Jingning and enters a vast body of water, Weishan Lake. Weishan Lake is the largest freshwater lake in northern China. Thousands of square kilometers of water, reed marshes interlaced with lotus ponds, water birds rising and falling above them. You board a small motorboat to enter the lake area. The boat captain is a Shandong man in his 60s, wearing a straw hat, his skin tanned to a purple bronze by the sun. He speaks very little, focused entirely on steering. You feel that his silence is appropriate. The scenery here needs no words to accompany it. The canal's channel within a lake has become a narrow waterway, flanked on both sides by reeds taller than a person.
The reeds make a dry rustling sound in the wind, not like leaves, but the sound of countless hollow red stalks knocking against each other, like an ancient instrument. The boat twists and turns through the reed channels, and you completely lose your sense of direction. Sometimes the waterway becomes extremely narrow, reeds brushing against the hull with a swishing sound. Sometimes the water opens wide, revealing a vast expanse of pale lake, lotus blossoms in full bloom in the distance, pink flowers peeking out from among the green leaves, swaying gently in the wind. A heron stands on a wooden post by the water, its gray-white feathers fluttering slightly in the breeze. As your boat passes, it does not fly away, only turns its head to look at you, the amber of its eyes reflecting the sky and clouds. You suddenly understand why the Grand Canal is called a civilization on the move. This river not only carried grain and goods from south to north, it stirred together the lust of the north and the misty rain of the south, the solidity of Shandong people and the softness of those from Jiangnan, the northern winter and the southern spring. It stirred all of this into a single thing, the water before your eyes right now.
You leave the boat at Weishan Lake and continue south by land for a while, arriving at a small place called Nanwang. Nanwang is nearly impossible to find on a map. It is so small that even some locals in Shandong are not quite sure where it is. But in the history of the Grand Canal, Nanwang is where a miracle happened. You stand at the water divide of Nanwang. This is the highest point of the entire Grand Canal, less than 40 meters above sea level, but it is higher than Linqing to the north and higher than Jiangning to the south. When water reaches this point, which way should it flow? Before the Ming Dynasty, this was the most vexing problem on the Grand Canal. The Shandong section often ran dry,
there was not enough water for boats to pass. Then an old man from Shandong named Beijing figured out a solution. He was not a water official, not a court appointee. He was simply a folk hydraulic engineer from Wenshan County. He discovered that the Wen River in Shandong carried abundant water. If a dam were built on the Wen River and its water diverted into the Grand Canal, at Nanwang, the water would naturally split in 2 directions, 7 parts north, 3 parts south. You stand at the site of the original divide. It is the dry season now. Only a shallow layer of water lies in the channel over smooth pebbles. But if you crouch and look closely, the water is indeed flowing in 2 directions. The current heading north is very slow, and the one heading south is also slow, but they are separate. The same water, upon reaching this point, splits into 2 paths, one toward Beijing, one toward Hangzhou. Beijing, an old engineer who never left Shandong his entire life, stood where you stand now, watching the water divide he had designed flow for the first time. This man, who had never read a day's worth of hydraulic engineering textbooks, used a lifetime of experience and intuition to solve a problem that had baffled hundreds of imperial water officials. You crouch down and reach your hand into the water. The water slips through your fingers and it bites into 2 streams. The one heading north goes back the way you came. The one heading south flows toward where you are yet to go. You stand up and continue along the southward current, walking deeper into the south. You follow the canal south, and at the border between Shandong and Jiangsu, arrive at an ancient city built entirely on water. Taiyuan, the entire city is embraced by the canal. You enter through the west gate and are immediately greeted by a narrow canal. The water is green. Both banks are lined with old buildings of gray brick and gray tile, layered horsehead walls, upturned eaves. Red lanterns hang in a row along the shore, their reflections in the water as though 1,000 household lights have been relayed beneath the surface. You walk along the bank. The stone slabs beneath your feet are damp with night moisture, glistening faintly. A stone arch bridge spans the river, its arch perfectly rounded, like half a moon fallen onto the river, the other half hidden in its reflection. You step onto the bridge and look down from the highest point. Beneath the glow of the riverside lanterns, the canal has turned into a golden ribbon. A few fallen leaves drift on the surface, slowly, rotating, passing through the reflection of red lanterns, then through the reflection of yellow window lights, before disappearing into the shadow of the stone bridge. A sculling boat glides slowly through the bridge arch. A young woman in blue printed cotton cloth stands at its bow, holding an oar, gently working it. The oar traces one character after another on the water, each stroke carrying the sound of water. Splash, splash, extremely soft and slow, as though the water itself were singing. The boat passes beneath the arch beneath your feet. The sound of the oar reaches your ear for a moment, then fades with the departing boat, growing smaller until it vanishes into the night. You lean against the bridge railing, watching the river flow south. From a distance, the sound of oars comes and goes, wave after wave. At some point, you close your eyes. You find a room to stay in by the water in Taiyuan. The room is not large, but its window faces the canal. The night is very deep now. The clamor of strolling visitors along the shore has gradually faded. You push open the wooden window, and the night wind rushes in, carrying the scent of aquatic plants, a damp fragrance combining river water, water weeds, and the coolness of the night. The reflections of a few lanterns still float on the river, their lights swaying gently with the ripples. From afar comes the very soft, very faint sound of oars, like someone repeating the same phrase in the far distance. You lean against the windowsill and look at Taiyuan in the night. All the old houses have sunk into darkness. Only the red lanterns still glow, like faint heartbeats on this river. You think back on the places you visited today: Jishuitan, the burning beacon pagoda, the Yangliujing New Year print shop, Tianjin's Sanqiahekou, the Iron Lion of Hangzhou, the starry sky above Dangping Lake, the water divide at Nanwan. All strung together by the same water, like beads threaded on an invisible string. That string extends from the north, behind you all the way to places farther south, to where you will arrive tomorrow night. You blow out the lamp. Moonlight pours in through the window, painting a silver rectangle on the floor. The sound of the flowing river penetrates the night, gently sounding. Not so much the sound of water as the breath of this old house. Good night. The northern waters still flow north. The southern waters still flow south. And you lie between them in this small city, embraced by the canal, peacefully, quietly, asleep. We set out from Jishuitan in Beijing, traveling south along the Grand Canal, and fell asleep to the sound of canal waters in Taiyuan. Tonight, we continue south from Taiyuan, crossing the border between Shandong and Jiangsu, and enter the territory of Huai'an. Now, close your eyes. Let your breath sink slowly, like a boat slowly casting off, leaving the dock, following the current. When you open your eyes again, you're standing on the Qingjiang Gate of Huai'an. This is the last gate before the Grand Canal meets the Huai River, and the section with the greatest water level difference on the entire canal. The stone gate beneath your feet is centuries old, built of blue stone with iron ingots embedded in the crevices, the iron rusted to a deep brown welding stone to stone. The gate itself is made of wood, so thick that an adult could not wrap their arms around it, its surface darkened to ink black by centuries of water. The sound of the water below is unlike any water you have heard before. Not the gentle lapping of a lake against the shore, nor the tinkling of a stream over pebbles. Every drop here is wrestling with stone, water rushing down from upstream, blocked by the gate, swirling angrily around the walls, producing a low, ceaseless roar. You lean over the railing and look down. The water spins, white foam floating on the surface, like a pot of boiling water. You close your eyes and imagine the grain boats passing through this gate in times past, ropes taut as bowstrings. The boatmen's feet slipping on the stone slabs, their shouts overpowering the water's roar. A boat rises in the lock chamber, then descends again, as if a hand were lifting a vessel from one time into another. Now those sounds have faded away, leaving only the water's eternal thunder, never stopping. Descending from the gate, you follow the riverbank into the old city of Huai'an. Huai'an, the hub of the canal. During the Ming and Qing dynasties, the imperial granary administration was headquartered here, governing the lifeline of the entire Grand Canal. You enter the grounds of the former administration office. Only the main gate and two side halls remain of the original compound. The central courtyard is overgrown with wild grass, through which the outlines of the foundations can still be seen. On the floor of a vast room, perhaps the main hall, traces of square bricks remain, each one pitted and worn by the official boots of centuries. You stand in this empty foundation and close your eyes. You can imagine the scene in the great hall. A massive desk of rosewood spread with maps of the entire canal. From Beijing to Hangzhou, 1,800 kilometers of waterway. Every lock, every dike, every dangerous shoal marked with precision. The director sits behind the desk, his finger slowly tracing the map. He has traveled this paper route countless times, walking the entire canal. Though he may never have left Huai'an in his life, on the desk are hydrological reports from every region. Shandong section, 3 feet shallow, 18 grain boats aground. Yangzhou section, dike leaking urgently needs reinforcement. You open your eyes. Before you is only the empty foundation and wild grass. A gray sparrow lands on the stone foundation, tilts its head to look at you, hops twice and flies away. The canal director of Huai'an is long gone. Grain transport has become a word in the history books. But the water still flows from beneath your feet all the way south into the mist and rain. Leaving Huai'an, the canal becomes a gentler presence. The land on both banks sinks lower, the water opens wider. You walk along the canal for half a day and see a pagoda in the distance, standing in the very middle of the waterway. The Zhenghua Temple Pagoda, a 9-story square brick pagoda built during the Tang Dynasty. Because the canal's course shifted over the centuries, it originally stood on the bank. But when the canal was widened, the pagoda was left standing on a small island in the middle of the water. You go to the ferry and take a small wooden boat to the island. The boat glides slowly across the canal, the water reflecting a soft light in the afternoon sun. Not harsh, like a piece of warm jade polished 10,000 times. Only you and an old ferryman are on the boat. His hands grip the wooden oar, pulling stroke after stroke, the blade entering the water almost silently. Only the faintest sound as the ball parts the surface. Sss, like silk being torn along a single thread. The island is tiny. You can walk around it in just a few minutes. The pagoda stands at its center. You enter through its door, and a scent mixing old wood and incense ash greets you. The interior is dark. A narrow brick spiral staircase winds upward, each step worn into a shallow groove by 1,000 years of footsteps. You climb one hand on the wall. The red paint has worn away, revealing the gray-white brick beneath. People have scratched characters into the plaster. 3rd year of Ranghe, 7th year of Wang Li, 15th year of Daoguang. Travelers from afar, one after another, unable to leave the stairs without carving their own proof of arrival. You reach the top floor and look out the window. The canal lies beneath you like a gray silk ribbon, winding through the green plain, stretching to a vanishing point in the distance. Wind pours through the window, carrying the scent of rice paddies and river water. You lean your head out and see the pagoda's reflection on the water's surface. The tower sways gently in the ripples, like a dream built in water. Returning from the island, you walk slowly through the streets of Gaoyou. Gaoyou is not just a small canal town with an ancient pagoda. It is also the place in all of China that knows best how to cure salted duck eggs. You sit down at a tiny shop by the canal. In front of the shop are a low table and 2 bamboo chairs. The shopkeeper brings you a cut salted duck egg and a plain steamed bun. The egg white is snowy white and firm. The yolk is a deep orange, oil seeping outward in layers. The outermost part of the yolk is drier and mealy. The innermost so soft it almost flows. You pick up a small piece of yolk with your chopsticks and put it in your mouth. First saltiness, then a rich sandy fragrance that slowly spreads across your tongue. You take a bite of the bun, then a sip of tea. A gentle breeze blows from the river, carrying a trace of moisture from the surface. The shopkeeper sits nearby, eating his own lunch. A bowl of Yangzhou noodles, no garnish, the white noodles lying cleanly in clear broth. A few scallion blossoms floating on top. He eats very slowly. You watch him, and it seems to you that the speed of his eating matches the flow of the canal. Not fast, not slow, neither hurried nor languid, the rhythm of their still time. You sit by the canal in Gaoyou for an entire afternoon. Nothing special happens. The water flows. Occasionally a sand barge putters past. The shopkeeper dozes off. The sun moves from overhead to the west. It is the most ordinary and the most luxurious afternoon you have spent on the canal. You leave Gaoyou and continue south. Through this stretch of Jiangsu, the canal becomes wide and gentle. The houses along its banks gradually change from northern gray brick and tile to white walls and black tiles. The roof lines grow steeper, the colors lighter, the eaves curve higher. You enter a city that feels more like the south, Yangzhou. The canal slows its pace at Yangzhou's gate. It skirts the city unhurriedly, like a long-distance traveler dusting off his clothes before entering town. You walk to an old ferry landing on Yangzhou's ancient canal. The stone steps are worn almost smooth, their edges barely discernible. Each step has a shallow depression at its center, carved by hundreds of years, by millions of feet. You descend the steps and sit on the lowest one, your feet just inches from the water. The sunset is burning from the west. The entire canal is painted in warm gold. The water moves, the golden light shattering on the ripples into 1,000 fragments, as if someone had scattered a handful of gold leaf across the surface. An old-style wooden boat is moored at the landing, a black canopied boat. Its canopy woven from bamboo strips, coated in tung oil, glowing amber in the dusk. A man in his 50s squats at the bow, wearing a blue cloth shirt, a cigarette dangling from his lips. The amber glows and fades. You ask him, "Is this boat still running?" He looks at you, slowly exhales a mouthful of smoke, and says, "Yes, along the canal." "Where are you going?" You say, "Hangzhou." He smiles, "Far. But I can take you as far as Guazhou." You step onto the boat. It rocks gently, then steadies. The old man unties the rope, pushes the pole against the shore, and the boat glides away, slipping slowly into the center of the canal. You sit at the stern, watching Yangzhou's silhouette recede in the twilight, lights flickering on one by one along the banks. You feel the water flowing beneath the boat, not a rush, but a steady, gentle pressure, like the pulse of the earth itself, transmitted through the water to the wooden hull and through the planks into your body. The boat travels along the canal for most of a day. The scenery on both banks shifts from Yangzhou's low walls and weeping willows to open fields. the rice is filling its grains, heavy heads bending low, rising and falling in the wind, like a vast green sea. The old man speaks little, only occasionally adjusting the rudder or taking a sip of tea from a tin flask at the bow. You doze on the boat for a while, rocked by its gentle rhythm into a half-waking, half-dreaming state, no longer sure whether you are on the water or in a dream. When you open your eyes again, the boat has stopped at a dock, Guazhou Ancient Crossing, a place name that appears again and again in Tang poetry. The Biang River flows, the Sea River flows, flowing to Guazhou's Ancient Crossing. Bai Zhuyi wrote that 1200 years ago. Another poet stood on the same dock where you now stand, watching the same canal water merge into the great river before you. In the history of the Grand Canal, Guazhou is a threshold. From here, the canal must cross China's greatest river, the Yangtze. You jump from the boat onto the shore, the blue stone dock of Guazhou Ancient Crossing. The stones are polished smooth as mirrors by water, and still hold the iron bollards where mooring ropes were once tied. Short iron posts, rusted and pitted, but still firmly embedded in the stone. You crouch down and grasp one of the iron bollards. The iron is cold to the touch, rough, leaving a faint rust smell on your hand. The grooves worn into the bollard by ropes are still clearly visible. Deep, smooth grooves. How many boats? How many ropes? How many years of friction would it take to wear such grooves? You let go, stand up, and look at the canal's end. The canal water flows into the Yangtze at Guazhou Ancient Crossing. Two waters of different colors slowly intertwine at the confluence. The canal water is yellower, like tea steeped for a long time. The Yangtze water is grayer, like ground ink. Before your patient gaze, they slowly merge into a single color and then flow east together. People of ancient times came here, stood where you now stand, untied the rope from the iron bollard, said goodbye to the canal, and entered the Yangtze. And so do you. You untie the invisible rope within yourself and let both boat and self drift into wider waters. Crossing from Guazhou, you take a small ferry to Zhenjiang on the southern bank of the Yangtze. The ferry is not large. A dozen people stand on deck. Vegetable farmers with carrying poles, a young man on a motorcycle, a mother holding a child. When the boat reaches mid-river, you lean against the rail and watch the river rolling beneath the hull. The Yangtze is more than 2 kilometers wide here. Standing in midstream, both the southern and northern banks are just faint gray lines. The water is gray-yellow, thick and heavy, nothing like the clear, gentle waters of the canal. Wind blows across the river, not a gentle breeze, but a water-laden, almost unruly wind that tangles your hair and whips whitecaps across the surface. The boat rocks gently in the swells. You grip the rail. You look at this river, 6,300 kilometers long. It begins in the glaciers of the Qinghai-Tibet Plateau, cuts across half of China, and meets the canal here for just a moment. And you have traveled all the way from Beijing along the canal to this place, 1,000 kilometers away, face to face with this great river. The boat reaches the southern shore. Zhenjiang's dock is far busier than the northern bank. Unloading cranes, container mounds the size of small hills, trucks beeping as they reverse. You walk out of the dock and look back at the Yangtze. The river looks even wider than it did from midstream. The northern bank, almost invisible. The canal, you have followed all the way from Beijing, merges silently here into the vast current. You turn and continue south along a narrower waterway. The canal is still here. After crossing the river, it takes a new name, the Jiangnan Canal. It begins in Zhengjiang, passes through Hangzhou, Wuxi, Suzhou, Jiaxing, and reaches all the way to Hangzhou. Every stretch of it carries the gentle cadence of the south, just like the section beneath your feet, which is already growing softer. You walk along the Jiangnan Canal for a day and reach Hangzhou. The canal runs right through the city here, not around it, but straight through. Old houses on both banks crowd close to the waterway. From the second floor windows, you could almost reach out and touch the wall across the alley. You enter Bijaya Land, an old land of Changzhou, pressed against the canal. It is said that during the Ming and Qing dynasties, this was where combs were sold. The lane is narrow, so narrow that two people passing each other must yield. You walk slowly. The path is paved with blue stone slabs, always damp from the canal's moisture, giving off a cool, dark gleam. The houses along the lane are all wooden structures from the Qing dynasty. 2 stories, shops on the ground floor, homes above. The windows are the old push-out kind. Their red paint faded to faint trace of color, but the carvings remain. Every window's carving is different. Some orchids, some bats, some the Fushou pattern of good fortune and longevity. From deep in the lane comes the sound of wooden clogs. Dog, dog, dog. Slow and steady. An old man walks toward you from the far end, wearing cloaks, carrying a bundle of grains. As he passes, he glances at you, nods, and continues on. Dog, dog, dog. You stop beneath an old elm tree by the canal. The tree is very old, its trunk so thick that 2 people could not wrap their arms around it. Yet, its branches and leaves are dense, shading half the river. A stone bench beneath the tree is warm from the sun. You sit down, leaning against the trunk, watching the canal water flow slowly by. The lane is quiet, so quiet you can hear water seeping through the cracks between stones, can hear the elm leaves rustling faintly in the breeze. The canal has flowed here for 1400 years, but this lane seems to have no intention of being changed by time. Combs are still sold. The old man still wears clogs. The shade still paints the same shape on the water at dusk. You set out from Changzhou, walking along the canal for a day, arriving at Wuxi in the evening. Along Wuxi's canal lies an old street, the Qingming Bridge, ancient canal district. You cross a stone arch bridge called Qingming Bridge, built during the Ming Dynasty, a single arch stone bridge, its body laid alternately with blue stone and granite, its surface polished mirror smooth by centuries of footsteps. You stand at the highest point and look down. The canal, lit by the lamps on both banks, has become a river of flowing amber. Old houses line the water in a single row. White walls, black tiles, horsehead gables, latticed wooden windows. Beneath every eave hangs a red lantern, its warm glow wavering in the water like docile golden fish swimming slowly beneath the surface. A stone bridge, an old house, a red lantern, a river that has flowed for 1,000 years. There is no scene more emblematic of Jiangnan. You descend the bridge slowly and walk along the bank. A long flagstone path runs beside the water, lined with tea houses and snack shops. The tea house windows are open. Someone is playing a guqin inside. The melody low and slow, fragmentary, diluted by the sound of the river until it becomes a distant background note. You pass a snack shop. Steam rises from bamboo steaming baskets on the stove. Wuqi soup dumplings. You sit down. A basket of dumplings arrives. The wrappers so thin they are nearly transparent, through which you can see the golden broth shimmering inside. You bite a small opening and slowly suck out the soup. It is warm and sweet, melting slowly on your tongue, with just a hint of ginger and a trace of Zhenjing vinegar. You sit on a bamboo chair by the canal, eating your dumplings. From a window across the river, someone is playing a pipa, the sound carried off by the water, reaching your ears as the faintest, most delicate melody. You chew your dumplings, listen to the pipa, watch the reflections on the canal wavering in the ripples. Someone, 1,000 years ago, on some evening, might have sat where you sit now, eaten the same dumplings, listened to the same pipa, gazed at the same canal water, and in that moment, you feel that the 600 years between you have dissolved on the canal's surface. You have seen the same moon beneath the same bridge. You leave Wuxi, taking a short boat ride. The canal water here is clearer. Willows on the bank dip their slender branches into the water, as if washing their hair. After half a day, you reach Suzhou. The Grand Canal enters Suzhou through Changmen Gate. You stand atop Changmen's Gate Tower, watching the canal thread through the old city like a silver ribbon. Changmen Gate, the oldest gate in Suzhou. The passage in Dream of the Red Chamber that speaks of the most prosperous and romantic place in the mortal world refers to this very district. You descend the tower and follow the canal into Suzhou's old city. Suzhou is entirely unlike the northern cities. Northern cities are square, streets straight as a grid, like a chessboard. Suzhou is round. The canal circles the city and then branches into countless smaller waterways, like the veins of a leaf, connecting the entire city. You cross one stone bridge after another. Suzhou has more than 200 bridges, each with its own name and story. You cross Maidu Bridge, Biodai Bridge, Maple Bridge. Moon sets, crows caw, frost fills the sky. River maples and fishing lights face my sleepless sorrow. Outside Guazhou's wall, cold mountain temple. At midnight, a bell reaches the traveler's boat. The Maple Bridge of Zhang Ji's poem. It lies before you now. Maple Bridge is not large, a single arch stone bridge. Nothing especially remarkable among Suzhou's hundreds of bridges. But on that night, 1,300 years ago, a failed scholar passed beneath it on a boat, unable to sleep, and wrote those 28 characters. From then on, this bridge became one that Chinese literature could never pass by. You stand on Maple Bridge, midnight. Moonlight spreads a thin silver veil across the canal. Cold Mountain Temple stands not far away beside the canal, its enclosing wall glowing faintly yellow in the moonlight. You hold your breath and wait a long time, but tonight, no bell comes. Perhaps it only sounds in the deepest part of the night. You do not hear it, but you do not mind. You have crossed a bridge whose name has been waiting for you in a poem for 1,000 years. You rent a small hand-rowed boat and drift slowly through Suzhou's water alleys. The boat is piloted by a woman from Suzhou. In her 50s, a blue-printed cotton headscarf wrapped around her hair. working the yulo at the stern. The yulo traces a figure 8 in the water. Each stroke carries the sound of water. Whoosh, whoosh, very soft, very slow. The water alley is narrow, so narrow that the houses on either side nearly touch. The whitewashed walls are within arm's reach, covered with moss and ivy. Occasionally, a half-open wooden window appears. A pot of orchids on the sill. You look up. The eaves on both sides almost meet in the sky, above you. The sky reduced to a thin silver thread between the rooftops. The water alley is very quiet, quiet enough to hear the faint creaking of the yulo against its oarlog. Creak, creak, a song of only 2 notes. You pass beneath the stone bridge, its arch so low that both you and the boatwoman duck your heads. She says, "Mind your head." The boat slides under the bridge, the stone arch overhead so close that moss grows on it. Just a hand's breadth above your hair. Beneath the bridge, it is dark, so dark you can barely see the water. When the boat emerges on the other side, light floods back into your eyes. You see an old house, stone steps at its door, leading all the way down to the water. An elderly woman sits on the steps shelling beans, the water gently lapping at the stones beside her feet. She looks up as you pass. Your boat moves on. Willow branches brush your face, carrying a trace of coolness. You close your eyes, letting the boat carry you. You do not know how long passes. When you open your eyes, you realize you have lost all sense of direction. Suzhou's water alleys are a gentle maze, and you have willingly lost yourself within it. Leaving Suzhou, the Jiangnan Canal opens up again. You continue south. More and more rice paddies appear on the banks. The villages grow denser. You stop at a small city called Jiaxing, because the canal here has a sight you must see. You stand on the canal bank outside Jiaxing, looking at 3 pagodas standing side by side on the water. The 3 pagodas, not 1 pagoda, but 3. They stand on the western bank of the canal, one tall flanked by 2 shorter, evenly spaced, like 3 monks guarding the river, standing shoulder to shoulder. Built during the Ming Dynasty, brick, solid, you cannot enter them. They were built not for climbing, but to tell boatmen on the canal, you have reached Jiaxing. Each of the 3 pagodas casts its own reflection on the water. But because the current flows differently in speed and direction, the 3 reflections tremble in completely different rhythms. The left pagoda's reflection sways slowly, softly, in rounded waves. The middle one, more quickly, more brokenly. The right one is almost pulled apart by the ripples into several separate fragments. You gaze at these 3 pagodas and their reflections and feel that the canal has given you a gift. The same thing, transformed into entirely different shapes by different waters. You continue walking along the canal for a while longer. As dusk approaches, you see a very long stone bridge in the distance. The long Rainbow Bridge. It is the longest surviving multi-arch stone bridge on the Grand Canal. 78 meters long, 3 arches all built of granite. The bridge is a warm light gray, glowing faintly in the twilight. You walk across it. The bridge is wide. Its stone railings are carved with the 24 filial piety scenes. Each panel a figure, a story. The carved lines have been worn shallow by centuries of wind and rain, but the outlines of the figures can still be seen. A child lying on ice for his mother, an old woman weaving cloth for her son beneath the eaves. Ancient stories resting on an ancient bridge, seen by passers-by for hundreds of years. You stop at the bridge's highest point, lean against the railing, and watch the canal flow slowly southward in the twilight, toward its final destination. Before entering Hangzhou, the canal passes through an old town, Tangqi. Tangqi's canal street is unlike any other. The entire street is covered by a long eaves gallery, like an extended corridor. You enter the old covered street of Tangqi. The eaves are wide enough for tea tables and benches to be set out beneath them, where people drink tea, play chess, and chat, sheltered even from the rain. The canal lies just beyond the eaves, its sound drifting in from not too far and not too near, like background music for these old houses. You walk slowly beneath the eaves. You pass a pastry shop. Freshly steamed dingsheng cakes are set out at the door, pink-hued, carrying a faint fragrance of rice. You pass a carpenter's workshop. An old carpenter inside is planing a wooden board. Curled shavings falling to the floor like rolled snowflakes. The scent of wood rich and warm. You pass a tea house. Inside, just two old men sit in bamboo chairs, each with a cup of green tea before them. They do not speak. They simply sit. Occasionally, one lifts his cup for a sip, and the other follows. You stop beside one of the eave pillars. The pillar is marked with rows of scratches, arranged as neatly as a measuring scale. You ask the old woman selling pastries beside you what they are. Flood markers, she says. Year after year, the canal water rises. These marks record the highest water level each year. You run your fingers gently over the grooves. The highest one is on the pillar about a meter above the ground. That must have been from a rainy summer, when the water rose to the very edge of the eaves and someone in Tangqi carved a mark into the pillar. Then the water was lower the next year, higher the year after, like the breathing rhythm of the canal itself, chiseled into the wooden pillar, stroke by stroke. No longer do you see Tangqi's eaves gallery as merely a shelter from the rain. It is a diary written in water levels, each groove a record of one heartbeat of the canal. You stay overnight in Tangqi. When you set out the next morning, the mist has not yet lifted from the canal banks. You walk the final stretch from Tangqi to Hangzhou, about 20 kilometers. On this section, the canal is quieter than anywhere before. No cargo boats, no factories. Only old residential buildings and abandoned docks along the banks. But do you feel this is fitting? The canal has traveled so far and near its end, it deserves to be at peace. You draw closer and closer. You see the first bridge of Hangzhou, Gongchen Bridge. Gongchen Bridge, the southernmost landmark of the Beijing-Hangzhou Grand Canal, the flag at the finish line. You stand on Gongchen Bridge. It is the largest stone arch bridge in Hangzhou. 3 arches, its back rising high like an upturned ingot. The stone steps are steep. You climb them one by one, your view rising with every step. When you stand at the highest point, the canal spreads out beneath you. From Jishuitan to here, a journey of 1,800 kilometers. You stand on Gongchen Bridge and look back. The canal's water has come from the north, from the direction you came, through Tongzhou, Tianjin, Hangzhou, Linqing, Jining, Tiezhuang, Huai'an, Gaoyou, Yangzhou, Guazhou, Zhenjiang, Changzhou, Wuxi, Suzhou, Jiaxing, Tangqi, water that has flowed for 1400 years, merging here into the waters of Hangzhou. You turn around. Hangzhou unfolds before you, not a golden, glorious unfolding, but a quiet, gentle one. Hangzhou in the morning, mist is gray-blue. West Lake appears and disappears in the distant haze, the silhouette of Lifeng Pagoda as faint as a pencil stroke on white paper. You descend Gongchen Bridge and follow the canal's very last stretch into Hangzhou's old city. The houses by the water are lower than those in the north and damper. Moss grows at the base of the walls. Ferns sprout from the crevices between stones. Everything is slow, moist, dark-hued. You place your foot on a blue stone slab by the canal in Hangzhou. You have arrived. Between that first step at Jishuitan in Beijing and this step you have just taken on this stone in Hangzhou, 1800 kilometers, 1400 years, and the entire memory of a canal. You walk through Hangzhou's oldest gate, Wuling Gate. The canal passes through Wuling Gate and enters the city proper. The walls and the gate itself are long gone. Only the place name remains. But the canal is still here, and here it draws its full stop. You stand at the ruins of Wuling Gate Dock, once the terminal dock of the Grand Canal. Goods from the south were unloaded here. Goods heading north were loaded onto boats. Beside the dock stands a small stone tablet carved with 3 characters: Grand Canal, 0 kilometer start and point. You crouch before the tablet, your fingers gently tracing the characters. Hangzhou, your end point, and also a starting point from the other direction. You stand up, walk down the last stone step of the canal, and dip your hand into the water. The water is warm, carrying the temperature of the Jiangnan earth. You sit by the canal's final stretch of water for a long time. The sun moves from overhead to the west. The canal flows past you into Hangzhou's inner waterways, then into the Qintang River, and finally into the sea. You close your eyes. You hear the canal breathing. It says you have completed the journey. From that first blue stone step at Jishuitan, you have walked step by step 1800 kilometers. Every bridge you crossed, every lock, every pagoda, every stone, they are all still there, standing on the canal's banks, waiting for the next traveler from the north. As for you, you have arrived. Now, you may lift your feet back onto the shore. Slow your breath. Let the canal continue flowing south on its own. You no longer need to follow it. Night has fallen. You have walked this waterway that has never dried in 1400 years. Take a warm bath. Put on dry clothes. Lie down in a small room in Hangzhou. Do not rush to sleep, because the road you have traveled still flows inside you. Close your eyes, and you can see the first morning mist over Jishuitan. Hear the roar of water at Qingjiang Gate. Smell the golden oil seeping from Gaoyou's salted duck eggs. Feel the deep grooves worn into the iron bollard at Guazhou. Catch the scent of jasmine drifting through Suzhou's water alleys. You realize those images have not disappeared. They have sunk into your body. become a part of you. You lie in a Hangzhou night. The canal is not far away, resting quietly. It is no longer flowing, or rather, it no longer needs to flow. It has brought you to where you needed to go. Your breath merges with the sound of the canal's water. The water moves, you breathe. The water moves, you breathe. You are a boat that set out from Beijing, weathering 1,800 kilometers of wind and rain and moonlight, passing 18 bridges, 12 locks, 5 great rivers, countless villages and towns. Now you have safely docked at the last port. The dock is quiet. Moonlight traces a silvery path across the water. You drift gently on this path of light, no longer needing to exert yourself, no longer needing to reach shore. You have already arrived. Good night. From Jishuitan to Gongchen Bridge, you have followed a waterway that has flowed for 1,400 years and walked a road of 1,800 kilometers. Now the water stops, and so should you. Sleep well. Good night. If you enjoyed tonight's story, welcome to visit the main channel for more sleep audio. The Drift Stories series has many more tales of roads and water, mountains and cities waiting for you. Now, relax your shoulders, relax your legs, surrender the last trace of awareness, and let the sound of this thousand-lie canal water gently carry you into sleep. Good night.